Oh, well, hi, everybody. This is Joanne Nistico, Shackley Master Coordinator, and I have the great privilege of hosting a call called Tips from the Top, where I have a conversation with fellow Shackley Master Coordinators, along with my assistant, Lauren B. And today I have a wonderful friend and guest who's a presidential master coordinator who has an interesting former background prior to Shackley, but also a great lifestyle message on what Shackley means to her, and also some great tips from the top from presidential master coordinator Mary Oosterhouse. Welcome, Mary.
Hi, Joanne and Lauren. Thank you for inviting me. I know every speaker always says that, thank you for inviting me, but it is an honor to be asked to share some of your wisdom. And, you know, wisdom only comes through experience and having done certain things, and you find out what works and what doesn't work. Certainly that's true in Shackley, but I think that's probably true in all of life, don't you think?
Most definitely. I know I've learned a lot over the years and learned from people like yourself. And that was why I wanted to ask you to be a guest on Tips from the Top, because you've always given me so many words of wisdom. We've had a long journey, but a fun journey. Would you just introduce yourself in terms of what your former background was prior to Shackley?
Sure. But before I start to introduce myself, I want to say, Joanne, you and I met so many years ago. I don't know if you remember, but in Montreux, Switzerland.
I do. That was our first time.
Yeah, we sat on a porch. We both had very long dark hair, and now we have shorter white hair.
Yeah. I call it silver.
Oh, okay. Well, mine's white. And I will never forget that conversation we had, because I honestly felt I met someone that I had a lot in common with and was on the same vibration with, as far as what we felt about our Shackley career and life in general. And so that was my first introduction to you, Joanne, and I'll never forget it.
I even remember what I was wearing.
You do?
I had a red sweatsuit on, but
I know you were pretty outstanding.
Thank you. But Lauren, this was one of the Shackley trips that we were recognized for achievement. And we were in the mountains of Switzerland,
Yeah,
Montreux, Switzerland.
We were going to Montreux, but then they took us all up to Zermatt.
Absolutely exquisite.
Yeah.
Lounging in with the Alps all around us.
Yeah, and Shackley has always been, you know, stellar and first class wherever it takes you. But let me introduce myself. I am Mary Oosterhouse, and I've been in Shackley. Last year at the last conference, I celebrated 50 years in Shackley. And of those 50 years, 40 have been as a master coordinator. And I think, let's see, in 2008, I made presidential master. But my background is in education. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. And while out there is when my former husband, Roland Oosterhouse, was introduced to Shackley. And he came home with that first Vitaly and protein and put it on that countertop and said, "This is going to make us feel better." We were in our 20s. And I said, "You got to be kidding. We're spending money on protein and vitamins. No, thank you." But I was a typical young housewife teacher working as well. And I had a 1-year-old son. And I was tired all the time. And so eventually I did start unscrewing the bottles and opening up the Vitalia and opening up the protein and mixing it, and realized that I wasn't tired anymore. I had so much more energy. So even though some people don't have health stories as such, you know, they don't have some significant health issue, but energy is a health issue. And I had that health issue even at the young, tender age of in my mid-20s. So I started using it. I said, yes, this is great. But I was teaching school, and I thought, you know, I have a college degree. Why would I go out and sell something? You know, college people don't have to go out and sell anything. You have a college education. But we moved back to Michigan from Los Angeles, California. and soon realized that our economic prospects were not very good. Roland taught school, I did some substitute teaching, and the people that sponsored us, and this shows the relevance of staying in contact with anyone you meet in Shaklee. They always called us, always sent us newsletters from California to Traverse City, Michigan, in asking us, were we ready to start Shaklee? And Roland and I both said, no, not right now. And so we didn't go into Shaklee right away. We actually did our teaching thing, and then Roland went into selling insurance for a while. But eventually, I think it was in 1972, we took a very, very good look at Shaklee and realized this is an avenue for us to realize some of our economic dreams and our freedom dreams, because we both wanted to be independent. And so we went into Shaklee full bore, and before we knew it, we had, at that time, you got bonus cars for reaching a certain level. And we went to Hawaii, our first trip ever. We had never had a honeymoon as a young couple. We didn't have money for a honeymoon. And so Shaklee just, it opened our eyes to what was possible. And we grew very quickly, made it to key coordinator and then to master, etc. But along the way, we met some fabulous, fabulous people. And when we went to Hawaii, the first Shaklee convention I ever attended, I saw a group of people that I said, I want to spend the rest of my life with this group of people. I was kind of surprised myself at how I felt, because I didn't have a negative opinion of Shaklee. I had a negative opinion of selling. I had a negative opinion of having to get my family and friends introduced to this so that I could, do better in the business. But, I soon realized that it isn't really about making money off your friends and your family. It's about sharing something that's really been good for you and could possibly be good for them. I always remember what Dan Henderson said, I felt the same way you felt when you're listening to someone. And I think if you use that kind of a strategy with people, that really always seems to work.
Yeah, I agree with you. People have such a stigma about sales. And of course, our industry does as well, Mary. If you have a degree, I was a yoga teacher, and I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, so I didn't have so much a stigma on the sales. I think the harder thing I had was developing my self-confidence to be a leader. That was something that really took a little time for me. If you were to lead a new person today, I know your lifestyle is magnificent now, and you have the freedom. You mentioned earlier a quote that Dr. Shaklee said. What was it?
Yeah, I remember Dr. Shaklee, and I was one of the fortunate ones to have spent time with him, both in Hawaii and in Mexico. And then Hawaii again. I have wonderful pictures. I should have made slides of them and shown you, because I love to brag about that I was there when Dr. Shaklee was walking the hallways of our conferences. But Dr. Shaklee used to say that if you work really hard in the beginning, you will reap the rewards at the end. And that's what I have found true for myself. I went through a divorce about 11 years ago, and I always tell my friends, if I didn't have Shaklee, I'd probably have to be working at Walmart or something, because women my age who don't have something really built up, you don't have any place to go. You do end up working at these part-time jobs. But because of Shaklee, I have a fabulous lifestyle. I live here in Traverse City in the summer and the fall. And then in the winter and spring, I go out to Los Angeles, California, and live in Malibu. And so,
it's a tough life, Mary. Well, and we have to plug Carter Oosterhouse is Mary's son. And probably anyone watching this knows Carter. And how many children do you have, Mary?
I have 4 children, 4 beautiful children. And even though Carter is kind of the little star, we call him the little star, even though he's going to be 44, but we call him the little star. All my children have had very successful lives, and they all have wonderful marriages. And I have 8 gorgeous grandchildren that I spend a lot of time with. And I don't know about everybody else my age, but that is really a blessing and a reward when you can spend time with your grandchildren. And because of Shackley, I can spend a lot of time with my grandchildren.
And in health, and good health too,
Yeah,
which is so
yeah,
incredible, because we're not going to divulge age or anything right now, but people would be shocked really to know exactly your age, because you look so beautiful.
well,
Let me ask you.
I tell people my age. I'm going
Yeah.
to tell people I'm 70, going to be 78 next month.
Do not look
Well,
You know, it isn't just about looking physically attractive. It's about your energy. And Shackley gives you that kind of energy because bottom line, you are doing something for other people. And that is a very important attribute in life, to be doing something outside of yourself. If you're only thinking about yourself, your quotient of satisfaction with life is really very low.
yeah, and you know, the other thing is we're in such a supportive community. You know, everybody's so supportive when we go through our dramas of life, when we go through changes that we don't anticipate,
Yeah.
which happen to all of us. And it, you know, some years can be worse than others, but when we have those tidal waves of changes, we have such a supportive group of like-minded people
Yeah.
who care
You know,
about each other.
some of you are familiar with the book, The Blue Zones by Dan Buettner. And he says that one of the things that contributes to longevity is community. And in Shackley, you have a built-in community. People support you. I speak regularly to some of my peers. And in fact, 3 of them, we go on a trip every year. We don't see each other much, but we always go on a trip every year and meet up someplace. I don't know if we're going to do it this year because of COVID-19. But you know, you have that community that you know you can call someone and say, what did you think about this? And Joanne and I participate in a master coordinator call once a month. Well, we have 2, one with the home office and one among the masters. But after every call, there are about 3 people I call and say, well, what did you think about that call? And what is the bottom line to that? And do you understand that loyalty program now that is changing again? So that is the one thing I want to mention too, whoever listens to this, you must stay current. Because if you're not current, you're not relevant. And people won't be interested in what you have to say if you're speaking in archaic, you know, 1970 terms. This is 2020, you know, so we have to be current. We have to keep up, understand what's happening, and speak from a position of knowledge. And you have to be the best user of your own product. I consider my health and my energy and my livelihood really because of the products. You have to be your own best testament to these products. People who don't use our products and expect to build a business are usually not very successful because they don't understand what to suggest to people. This isn't just about signing people up. This is about having them establish a Shackley home. And that is everything. I don't use anything from an outside source if Shackley makes it, whether it's mascara, laundry product, or Vita Chews. What do they call? Well, Energy Chews.
Energy Chews.
I just
Well,
had
exactly, you know, and I was just doing a little note to myself about, did you know that Shackley has a benefit bonus program for you to change brands, you know, because they pay us, you know, and give us a bonus based on the amount of usage that we help create in terms of myself using the products and others who are using the products.
Mhm.
One of the things that, and I agree with you, staying current, well, that's more fun too. You know, to me, I like fun. I don't like to be dragged down. So fun is learning new things to me. So yes, I have to think about it. And yes, I have to mull it over. And yes, I have to call my friends and say, what did you think about that? And how do I integrate it? And what's, you know, my next vision and steps that I have to take? And I'm really excited about the new people joining this, seeing this Zoom too, because I think who do really well in Shackley are people who want to help other people.
Mhm.
And teachers are great, nurses are great, health coaches are great, You know, and we do have business people who like the business aspect, who like to help people in business. In getting in new people, what would you say to a new person besides what you just said, which is so beautiful? You have to be a testament to your own products. What steps would you want them to think about if you were to guide them today?
Well, if I were talking to a new person, I realize that it's very different from what it was, you know, even 10 years ago. People are looking for different things, but bottom line, people are still looking for connection and something worthy to give their time to. And so I would be looking, I'm very particular about who I sponsor. I don't believe in sponsoring just every, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry and Joan or Mary. I believe in sponsoring people that I want to work with. I believe in sponsoring people that I already see something in them that I find attractive. They may not have all the answers to how to sell something, or they may not have a nutrition degree. You know, very few people understand all of that there is to nutrition, but that's where Shaklee takes the guesswork out of it. And we're going to be learning about something in the virtual conference that really takes the guesswork out of recommending Shaklee to people. But anyway, for a new person, I would definitely say, you know, what is it that you want out of life? You know, you have to ask those big questions, because we want them to be looking for something that we have to offer, not just we want to sponsor them to make our business grow. They have to want something out of this. And so for a new person, I want to know, what do they want out of Shaklee? What are they looking for? What do they feel comfortable doing? Do they feel comfortable calling their friends to talk about Shaklee? Do they feel comfortable using Facebook and Instagram to promote their program, and Twitter too, I guess? I don't use Twitter much. Do you use that, Julia?
No.
Too much.
I'm gonna, as I said, I'm looking at assistance. You know, I honestly love, I don't like to do anything I don't like to do.
You're right.
But I have to find things that I like to do, and then I've got to work with a team of people that like to do the things that I don't like to do. That's kind of how I function for best for me, and I think that's how I attract the people that I'm looking for. But you know, it's funny, you gave me goosebumps when you said, you know, it's about connection, because every master coordinator that I have done tips from the top, that has been their message. Don Semeka, I spoke with him, he used that word. Joanne Boltinghouse, did an interview with her, she used that word. And once again, you're using that word. So it's connecting with people. And if you don't care about people, it's almost impossible to connect.
That's right. That's right.
So, well, I've so enjoyed talking to you. I know that a lot of the people who are going to be seeing this are going to learn a lot. I said today to myself, I said, you know, Mary and I have always connected, speaking of connection, and I'm going to get an aha moment. I'm going to get that good feeling, and thank you so much, because you certainly have given me that today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I want to tell everybody that be on the lookout for more tips from the top. I have a lineup of other master friends who have said yes to me to be in a conversation. It's really not an interview, it's just a conversation of people that have worked a very successful multi-million-dollar Shaklee business by helping others. So thanks again, Mary.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.